Under the cover of rain and clouds, no fewer than 29 Russian vehicles attacked Ukrainian positions northeast of the fortress city of Pokrovsk on Monday morning. A clutch of Ukrainian brigades, including the 33rd and 93rd Mechanized Brigades, assisted by the 1st Azov Corps and the Unmanned Systems Forces, knocked out more than half of the vehicles with mines, drones, and artillery, and scattered the infantry who managed to dismount. Losing half of a battalion-size assault group would be catastrophic for any other military. For the Russian military, it may actually represent a victory of sorts. It's possible enough infantry survived the assault to find covered positions and create a lodgement for eventual reinforcements. If those reinforcements arrive in time, the Russians may be able to consolidate their new positions and create opportunities for future advances. The levels of success from this attack will become clearer in the coming days, AMK Mapping noted. The Monday assault apparently involved some of the 5 Russian Marine brigades and regiments that rushed toward Pokrovsk this summer, was one of the most massive in recent times, the 1st Azov Corps reported. The assault targeted Ukrainian positions northeast of Pokrovsk, where the Russians are struggling to hold onto a salient they carved out of Ukrainian lines in August. That salient bending northwest toward the village of Dobropilya is or was, until recent Ukrainian counterattacks, Russia's best chance to encircle Pokrovsk from the north. If or when Pokrovsk falls, the Russian center grouping of forces will have a clearer path toward Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, the last major free cities in Donetsk Oblast. Notably, according to the 1st Azov Corps, there was an unusually large number of up-armored turtle tanks among the 29 Russian vehicles that rolled out on Monday. Tanks often lead Russian mechanized assaults, absorbing first-person view drones with their add-on armor, clearing mines with their front-mounted rollers, and firing their cannons to suppress Ukrainian troops. The enemy tried to complicate the actions of the defense forces of Ukraine by advancing the equipment in small groups, 4 to 5 units along different routes and at different times. The 1st Azov Corps stated. The invaders also counted on adverse weather conditions, which would complicate the work of drones. Despite this, their plan was thwarted. 15 of the 29 vehicles were immobilized, according to the 1st Azov Corps. It's possible the tanks ate so many drones that there weren't enough drones left over to hit the other armored vehicles trailing behind the tanks, as well as the infantry they landed. The clearing of the enemy infantry landing sites continues, the 1st Azov Corps reported. But if Ukrainian drones and counter-assaults can't clear out these infantry, it could become a problem for the Ukrainian defense north of Pokrovsk. Experts warn something like this could happen. For those mocking armored vehicles, and especially turtle tanks and thinking drones are a Wunderwaffe that have rendered armor obsolete, take a look at the sheer amount of FPVs that are required to destroy a well-up armored tank, analyst Jompy wrote. There are recent examples of Russian turtle tanks shrugging off dozens of drones before succumbing. It's not about how many dollars a tank costs versus a drone, Jompy added. It's about how many targets drone-intensive defenses can take out before being overwhelmed. Pokrovsk itself is likely lost, but that may matter less than the terrain around it. Open ground with clear sight lines and dense obstacles has proven easier to defend than sprawling cities, where Russian infiltrators exploit blind spots and gaps between Ukrainian positions. The fall of the former mining city would open the road to Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, the last major Ukrainian strongholds in Donetsk Oblast. But Ukraine's counterattacks north of the city could establish a new defensive line against the Russian center grouping of forces, perhaps 150,000 strong in open terrain, where Russian mechanized assaults have already failed repeatedly. Capturing Pokrovsk has been the Russian command's top priority for a year now. Defending it has been the Ukrainian command's top priority. But the Ukrainians always had too few troops for the task. Now there are hundreds of Russian infiltrators in the city center, and the supply lines to the embattled Ukrainian garrison are fraying. The fall of Pokrovsk appears inevitable, the pro-Ukraine conflict intelligence team warned. But Ukrainian victories north of the city should temper any dooming. Pokrovsk is likely to fall, and soon. But Ukrainian brigades may be able to establish a new and stronger defensive line north of the city. That's because cities are no longer the key defensive positions they used to be. It has become easier to defend fields or villages than large cities, French analyst Clément Moulin pointed out. Fewer soldiers are needed, the Russian infantry is quickly spotted, and the increasingly numerous obstacles, ditches, barbed wire, sometimes prevent progress. That's not mere theory. A clutch of Ukrainian brigades, overseen by the 1st Azov Corps, isn't just holding the line in the fields just north of Pokrovsk. They're actively counterattacking in several directions, steadily chipping away at a salient Russian infiltrators carved in the Ukrainian line back in August. In and around the village of Shekov, on the eastern edge of the collapsing salient, the Ukrainian 33rd and 93rd, Mechanized Brigades and 95th Air Assault Brigade have repulsed several Russian mechanized assaults in recent weeks. Despite occasionally bad weather that can interfere with aerial surveillance, drones have detected the approaching Russian vehicles, and mines, drones, and artillery have blasted them from above and below. The Russians have used interpositional space and infiltrated small infantry groups, gradually concentrating around 200 soldiers in Pokrovsk, according to the Ukrainian General Staff.